New videos every day.
The easiest thing I can say is that he's raising over $1 billion to run for the presidency of the United States. That in itself is a very serious issue. Many of the problems we have had during his administration have been directly a result of how much corporate influence he has in his administration.
I think the system is so corrupt and so rigged at this point that I don't think anyone can be elected in this system where it's the richest man gets elected. There's no way that someone that really is honest and supports what I support, which is equality, equal, one person, one vote, equality. I don't think we're going to get anybody like that who'll stand up against corporate power, because it takes corporate money to get elected now. So once you've gotten elected, you're in with the corporate people. There's no way around it in our system.
I'm very disappointed in Obama. I have been increasingly disappointed with our president after president after president. Today, when he spoke at his press conference and said that he wanted to raise income taxes on the wealthy to pay for his new jobs creation bill, I would say, President Obama, bring every man and woman home from overseas that's fighting in our wars. Cut down that budget by 2/3 or 3/4. Put all of that money into creating jobs at home for our servicemen and women and for the people here in this country who need it. And I think that would be one way to start.
We went from Henry Paulson, former chairman of Goldman Sachs, to his buddy Tim Geithner, who's former chairman of the New York branch of the Federal Reserve. They are in bed with our government. It doesn't matter if we have Obama in there, if we have Bush in there. We need to get that influence out. I believe Obama's a good man. I believe he wants to do certain things, and he comes from the same school of thought that I do in terms of community organizing. But there's too much influence at that level, and even down to our local levels. And we just need to gather and really push back against more investment in wars, in the military-industrial complex, tax cuts for the rich, you name it. He's doing what he can, apparently, but it's not up to him, it's up to us.
When Obama got elected, I think a lot of people had a lot of expectations for good things that he could do for this country. And I think he has done some good things for this country, but I do think also that he has capitulated too many times to corporations and to this sort of profit-driven interest Republicans and that kind of thing. But I think also it's important to note that a lot of this anger is directed at Obama, and rightfully so. But I think this anger should also rightfully be directed at Congress and at the corporations and the political interests that are really funding our agenda up in Washington. And that it's not necessarily the fault of any one person, but an entire system of corruption. So, is Obama to blame? Yes, but so is everyone else, and we need to get sort of corporate interests out of our politics.
I'd like to see politicians not be able to spend billions of dollars, millions of dollars on campaigns. Everybody should be equal when it comes to running. I mean, it should. I don't know if everybody can be equal, but this idea that you can spend any amount you want to elect any fool or idiot or bad person is just wrong. Bad people run, and they get bad people to support them, and they have so much money that they are able to, with advertising, sell something that isn't true about them, and they'll get elected. So that's the number one thing, I think, is taking that money out of politics, making it illegal to spend that much money. And the lobbyists, their money they're spending has to be controlled. And that's the only way, I think, is to start reducing the value of money in politics, where it's illegal to use big money to just buy the whole government. Right now, it's totally legal to buy the government and buy elections and buy politicians, and it's got to be made illegal again, like it is in so many countries. So we just need to have laws that protect the people.
I think President Obama is struggling with a lot of problems. Some of them he inherited. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. The problems, the trends that we're facing, the economic decline, it all looks very overwhelming. But I'm focused more on solutions than problems. A lot of us know what the problems are. I prefer not to say anything bad about anybody. I'm sure he's trying to do the best job that he can.
Well, I think Ron Paul is the only man who has been speaking his mind for 30 years on the same subjects. He has predicted all of these things that are happening in our society and in our economy right now. I do, however, believe there is something holding America back from taking the step and electing somebody like Ron Paul. Even though he has been the most truthful, the most honest, and the most dedicated politician in Washington that I can think of in the last 30 years. Even if I don't agree with 100% of what he says, I still have so much more faith and trust in him than anybody else, because he's never changed what he said. He says he's never voted for tax increases. He's never voted for the wars. He never voted for the bailouts. He stood his ground, and I really think that he is the most ethical person out there right now, but I don't think he's got enough support because we're so divided in our country. And until we can start working together and agreeing as 2/3, as a larger group of people to move in a direction, then I don't think that there's hope for this country, because we're just going to continue to divide and divide and divide and divide down into one side against the other. So, my political rant.
He's not George Bush, so on the other hand, there are some things that he's done that are a lot better than Bush, but there's so many things that needed to be redirected and fixed that Obama hasn't messed with, because he's messing with big power when he messes with ending the wars and reducing the military spending and bringing the troops home and all that. He's up against the big money there. And as far as anytime he comes up against the big money, he usually has to go their direction. So that's the system he was elected in. I'm not surprised. But he did make a statement after he got elected that if you want me to do big things like FDR, you have to force me to. You have to push me into it. He did say that. And I guess maybe this is what he was talking about. So we'll see.
I've never been a believer that there's a candidate that can make the change that we need to see. The change that we need to see and that we want to see, it can be found in our daily lives and in how well we mobilize and empower ourselves, in turn to empower our community. I like Senator Sanders from Vermont and Representative Kucinich, amongst many others, but those are just representatives, and we are the ones that will actually push them to do what it is they need to do.
I do believe Obama is trying to co-opt this, though. I do believe he would try to use this to his advantage, the Occupy Austin move, or the Occupy Wall Street movement. He will try to do that, but I don't believe that. I think that's a warning to this group to not allow any party to hijack it. As I said, that's what happened to the Tea Party, I believe.